You must feel like the cat that's got the cream when you open today's papers, or you just turn on the news or whatever. President Trump is in town, and he's talking your language.
Yeah, he is, very much so. I mean, look, Trump believes in Brexit, and all the people around him believe in Brexit. They look at the European Union as being undemocratic, taking away from nation states, and he wants Brexit to succeed. Now, this intervention today...
well, you're talking about he's done an interview
with the Sun, yeah.
Which do you think it took Number 10 by surprise? Because it took the rest of the media by surprise. We didn't know he'd done this exclusive interview in the Sun in which he has really put the knife into Theresa May.
It's taken the whole establishment by surprise, but not me. I'm not surprised at all.
Now, why?
Because I know how he feels about this. Also, the other angle to this, he feels personally let down by Theresa May. Why? Because the British government have been saying, once we're clear of Brexit, there'll be a trade deal with the USA. He desperately wants a trade deal with the UK. He wants to show the world he's not an outright protectionist. He believes in free trade, provided that it's fair. And effectively, that checkers accord last Friday kiboshes any realistic chance of a deal.
And that's more or less what he said in there. He
Absolutely.
said, if you go ahead with Theresa May's idea of Brexit, it isn't really a deal that we wouldn't really want to do deals with you, because we would feel that we're doing deal with Europe.
Yeah, so there are two things here. Firstly, it's Brexit that he wants to see succeed, but secondly, he feels personally let down by the Prime Minister.
I tell you what surprised me, and I think probably has surprised a lot of people reading it. In this interview, he appears to be knowledgeable or have opinions about things that I didn't even know he knew about. I can't help but wonder that he's being briefed by somebody very close to your argument. In other words, are you briefing him?
Oh, listen, I don't need to brief the President of America.
No, but are you?
No, of course not. That's a ridiculous idea.
All right, are you talking to him about it? Did you set this interview up for him?
No. Look.
Are you sure, Nigel?
No, it's not me. No.
Just in case you've forgotten.
This is Rupert Murdoch. This is Rupert Murdoch who's organised this. Of that, there's no doubt. No, look, I have over the past spoken to him and many of those in the administration. But to be honest with you, I didn't need to convince Donald Trump to be a Eurosceptic. He was already.
But he's sort of speaking your language, isn't he? I mean, I know you two have met. In fact, we also hear that Number 10 are very, very upset at the idea of you meeting him on this visit.
Yeah, no, part of the protocol, apparently, that was agreed was that he was forbidden from meeting me, which is pretty extraordinary.
Now, why would that be?
Well, Number 10 think I'm dangerous, clearly.
And they don't want a picture of him saying the things he's saying, standing next to you.
Their nightmare was a picture of him with me and us both saying Brexit's gone wrong. That is the one thing they were trying to avoid. Well, you know what? Look at the Sun interview. It's happened anyway.
Are you going to meet him?
No, not on this trip.
Are you going to talk to him on the phone?
No, not on this trip.
Really? You're really not?
No, I'm not. I don't need to. He's done it.
You don't need to, absolutely.
I don't need to. But any idea that this is me, that it's all my fault, is ridiculous.
Really?
Absolutely.
Are you sure? OK. Just in case you'd forgotten, you know. Like I said, did you wake up this morning? You said it wasn't a surprise to you.
No.
The interview itself in the newspaper itself, was that a surprise to you?
The last conversation I had with Donald Trump was in March, where, of course, we talked about Brexit, we talked about what was going on, and many of the things that he said in this interview do not surprise me.
OK. Well, you're a man of much more than just Brexit, actually, which I know the panel want to explore with you this morning.
Yeah, so Donald, I had a question for you. So various aspects.
Donald,
sorry, Nigel.
Where are we going with it? I mean, slow down a second.
You both have merged into the same person.
I don't think so.
Nigel, various aspects of the two Leave campaigns find themselves under the spotlight right now. The Electoral Commission's expected to find the official Vote Leave campaign guilty of 4 charges of breaking electoral law, as we've heard. And they're also investigating Aaron Banks and his Leave EU campaign. That's the one that you were involved in. Yeah. Could this undermine the legitimacy of the referendum result?
Not for one bit. I mean, I have to say, there are aspects of this referendum that do need looking at. I mean, for example, the fact that it looks like up to £7 million, not a couple of 100,000, but up to £7 million was illegally spent by the Remain campaign, because actually there have been admissions that every morning there were conference calls between all the different Remain campaigns, and that was against the rules, that level of collusion. I also seriously think the £9 million of taxpayers' money that David Cameron spent putting a leaflet through every door in the country is highly questionable. The more rules you make, the more laws you pass, the more people will tend to be in breach of them. But what disgusts me is that we have an electoral commission that puts itself up to be neutral. And every single one of the people on the board is an outright Remainer. So I think this is not being dealt with fairly. Both sides probably deserve a slap on the wrist, but the idea that the baddies are all on the Leave side and not on the Remain side is just nonsense.
OK, who else has got a question?
Are you keeping an eye on that $350 million a week for the NHS? Because if you need help with that deposit, I've got time on my hands, so I can walk the money over for you.
Well, the man who asked that question of is not me, of course.
It's never you, though. You disappeared after the election. It's always someone else.
Disappear. I'm still leading a group in the European Parliament. I'm still part of the revolution.
We couldn't find you for a while. You went to McDonald's and didn't want to be seen.
Let me tell you something. I've never hidden from view. I've done many things badly wrong, but I've never hidden from view. The $350 million a week was Boris's promise. Interestingly, Theresa May now says the government is going to match that. I did take issue with Boris at the time to say if he'd gone for $200 million a week, the other side couldn't have argued. And I thought it was a mistake, but hey.
Do you want to see him as Prime Minister?
Do you know something? I just would like to see a Prime Minister that actually believed in Brexit and believed in what they were doing. And the fatal mistake of all of this, Boris would have been Prime Minister in the wake of the referendum if Michael Gove hadn't stabbed him in the back with a knife. And we finished up with the Prime Minister pushing through something that is not easy to do who doesn't believe in it. And that's why it's a failure.
We should name you Donald and you can run.
Well, I might have a go.
Yeah, so Nigel, the last time you were on this show, you created huge ripples by saying that we should tool up for a second referendum.
Yeah.
Do you still believe we should be prepared?
The warning I was giving on that show, which did cause waves, was that the establishment were lining up and plotting a second referendum. A few months after I said that here, it turned out that George Soros was actually funding a campaign to fight for a second referendum. My view has slightly shifted on that. I think the calls for a second referendum are being met with, oh no, not another one. We've had enough of all this. But I tell you what will happen next. If this woman stays as Prime Minister, she will take this checkers deal.
Woman?
Theresa May, you mean?
Theresa May, her name is, yeah. I find it hard to be nice about her.
Do you think she will remain, or is this really the writings on the wall for her?
I think this intervention by the US president is significant.
Oh, that's ridiculous. She didn't call him. That's what he's mad about. It's his ego more than anything. The British public don't care what he
Do you know what? Even if you're right, even if this is all about his ego,
it is.
The point is that millions of people waking up this morning in Middle England who has sense over the last week they'd been betrayed. This story has confirmed it for them. I hope she goes. If she doesn't go, what the establishment will try to do is to postpone Article 50.
How long do you give her?
Postpone the date.
How long do you give her?
Well, I hope she's out within a fortnight, personally. Oh, no, this is the worst Prime Minister I've seen in my lifetime in terms of her ability, her authority to lead. She doesn't have it. She's deeply out of her depth. And she's trying through Brexit to hold together both wings of her
party. Are you angry because she's not calling you? Is that what this is about? Because you put her in office.
She wouldn't even speak to me.
What is really interesting, but she's leading the checkers at lunchtime.
Oh.
Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall?
Absolutely. And the press conference. There is going to be a stand-up press conference. It's going to be excruciating fun. It's going to keep comedians and it's going to keep cartoonists going.
I'll do a tight five if they need you.
Okay, guys, we've got to leave it there for the moment. But I must ask you, Nigel, just before we close, are you going to return to frontline politics? Are you going to maybe lead UKIP now?
Well, I don't want to.
There's a role for you now, is there not?
I don't want to. I was a businessman.
You are needed, are you not?
I was a businessman who went into politics because I wanted to change things. I thought I had changed things. Now I see this woman, Prime Minister, trying to overturn all of our achievements. And if they don't get rid of her and don't get it back on track, then I will, next spring, come back into the front line of British politics. And I tell you what, if I have to do this again, next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Feels like a threat.
Whoa, Mr. Bad Guy.
You heard it here.